Simon the Zealot only appears in the apostolic lists as a disciple and a follower of Christ. Outside of the apostolic lists, there's not any mention of Simon. Many assume that he was called, quote, Zealot, based on his affiliation with the Zealots. Because of this, some writers have built the story of Simon based off his alleged affiliation with the Zealots. However, there is no evidence of the existence of the Zealots until about 66 AD. Another term, zealotes, refers to someone who is deeply committed to the fulfillment of the law. Being a disciple of Christ, it makes more sense that Simon was a zealot, not a zealot. For the rest of this video, I'm going to refer to Simon as Simon the Zealot, regardless of what his true affiliation may have been, just because it's a more common name attributed to him. Not a lot is known about what Simon the Zealot did, but based on him being on the apostolic list, it's clear that he was a disciple of Christ and followed Christ. Regarding the traditions of his martyrdom, they vary greatly. Eastern traditions are confusing regarding the martyrdom of Simon the Zealot. A large issue with these accounts is that Simon the Zealot was often confused with Simon, son of Clopas. This hurts the Eastern traditions of the martyrdom of Simon the Zealot because sometimes we don't even know what Simon is being talked about in the text. The Western traditions differ about the martyrdom of Simon the Zealot. Book 6 of Pseudo-Adias says that Simon was a martyr in Persia. In a second account, the history of Armenia, it says that Simon was a martyr, but the author was unsure about when and where Simon was a martyr. In a third account, the Hieronian martyrology mentions the martyrdom of Simon in Persia as well. One popular tradition is that Simon went to Britain and was crucified there. The earliest evidence to this comes from Dorotheus, bishop of Tyre, in about 300 AD. He writes that, quote, Simon Zealotes traversed all Mauritania and the regions of the Africans, preaching Christ. He was at last crucified, slain, and buried in Britain. While this is a late citation, especially compared to the martyrdom accounts of some of the other apostles, it's still entirely possible that Simon did reach Britain. This is because of the Roman peace and the extensive Roman road system. However, there is no record of a church established in Britain by Simon the Zealot. Additionally, Bede the Venerable's 8th century History of England doesn't mention Simon arriving in Britain. However, Tertullian and other sources make it clear that there were Christians in Britain by the late 2nd century. In conclusion, the issue with the martyrdom of Simon son of Zealot is that there just isn't a lot of reliable sources about his alleged martyrdom. In the East, he was confused with Simon son of Clopas, and in the West, traditions have him going all throughout the world, suffering all different kinds of death. Despite this confusion, most of the stories of Simon have him as a missionary, which makes it likely that he was in fact a missionary. Regarding his martyrdom, it is possible that Simon the Zealot was a martyr, but there's just no way to know for sure. So thanks for listening, guys. I'm Zach, this is Adherent Apologetics. I hope you like this video. Be sure to subscribe. Please consider supporting on Patreon. I could really use your help. But that's it for now. I'll see you next time.